Sender 56, blue ring, no, blue worm. Technically, the supported Pro Tools is just an ordering system of the laptop, because based upon the encryption of key action, you do not have the file to plug down the Raptor, because in that way the division to teleport the grandson, the manuscript will hire the math condition of Pekanor. And in that way, once you know how to interlude the grid signal, the segmentation of the ProLex will placate the third amount of data technology, because in that way the monosontal will perform itself into the grid and layer temperature and grid in relation to 3625, 3648, CP9 data core, CP3 data core, CPO data core, RD5 data core, RD6 data core, Unix 59 26 48 54 3281, Lexum 5324, Lexum 5326, Lexum 5343, Lexum 5341, Lexum 5158, Lexum 5310-4, Lexum 5346, Lexum 53110, Lexum 5341, Lexum 5324, Lexum 5108, Lexum 5346, Lexum 5348, Lexum 5324, Lexum 53110, Lexum 5318, Lexum 5124, Lexum 5314, Lexum 5314, Lexum Lulu 1324 feet 5. Má hồi trước má có mua cái này không? Làm tụi ăn ngon không? Mai mốt Lexum 53110, Lexum 5341, Lexum 5346, Lexum 5143, Lexum 51410, Lexum 5102-8, Lexum 5103-4, Lexum 5618, Lexum 5118, Lexum 54110, Lexum 5346, Lexum 5318, Lexum 5310-4, Lexum 5106, Lexum 5143, Lexum 5131, Lexum 5346, Lexum 5114, Lexum 5318, Lexum 5349, Lexum 53112, Lexum 5346, Lexum 5318, Lexum 5316, Lexum 5811 in code Ehe, Lexa 132434 F61825, Lexum. The illumination based upon the alpha is the chronicle in relation to the Lexum, because the Lexum based upon the grid signal, the sender will pling Phoenix pling itself into the ordering system of each other, and in time of each other the protocol will mark the material, the Phoenix, into we mark the material into the prolex and also to detascite the processes of proton. The proton is based upon the content of law and to adhere the lexan. The lexan is based upon the grid signal of the translator and to class the division to support the Hong. No? It's mommy's dinner. You had dinner. So in that way, when you have lexan, the ordering of the Devlin is the Hegene of law in relation to the prefix, and the lexem will couple the Negene in relation to their couple. Yummy, isn't it? Yummy, isn't it? It's mommy's food. You're thinking of it too. So in that way, when you lexem the ordering system, you will perform the network of law. So the lexem is based upon the grid and the grid in relation to sound, no, not yet, later, and the conference of the lip tool. The conference of the lip tool is based upon the testat of lacta. And in that way, if you know how to introduce the lectum based upon the Fauham, the gamma will polar the whole lex in relation to the color. In that way, when you reverse yourself into the amphetamine, here, you will work out the data core of the lecta in relation to the prefix and the V shape of transstam. And in that time, once you know how to conference the maturity of the lectum, you will pin out the data compliance of the lecta and to and from the network of one. In that relation, once you develop the NNO, you will pin out the data of the core and to position itself into the lecta. And in that time, once you do, you will signal into the antibacteria and to pin out the data of the Lunix. In that time, once you signal into the antibacteria, the description based upon the amphetamine, you will work out the data core of the lecta and to pin out the data prologation. And in that time, once you have that way, you will lecta, dico, kata, and sector 328, sector 218, sector 324, sector 5104, sector 11, and sector 3. In the 38 and 28 of lectum, the performance of network will also animate the fifth position of the proton, and in that way the proton will develop the ampliform of tone and to position itself into the compliance of unknown. The lectum will be pinning out into the data core and to position itself into common. The common will be hene tasha in relation to the prefix and lecta into the core. And in that way, if there is a 31 review to support the data, the compliance of lectum will pin out the data of its own correjunction. The correjunction of its own correjunction. Its own correjunction is that once we have the availability to transit the signal in relation to its syntax argument, we will pin out the data of the tone in relation to the g, which is kind of like my mum's potato for the dessert. And in that time, once we can separate into the transition of the door, we can also fire brigade the transition of the anana and to pin out the data of each pore. In that time, once we signal into the antibacteria, the development of separator will pin out the data core and to comply with its own maturity, to understand the network of the aura and to pin out the tukong. Look at you. In that way, we will pin out the data of the core and to position itself into its and to position and to position itself into the compliance of its own network and to query the percentages of its own value. Mummy's food. So once we do that, the correspondence of the network is to comply with its own network and to aura the tuition. The Pixon of the Compla. No. Food. Off you go. How's your belly really? Off you go. Out you go. Out you go. You had stuff to eat already. Anyway, so in that time, based upon the conflict of the material, the lectum is based upon the transition of aura and to pin out the data of its own compliance. Network area 6 and network area 1. Conjunction, Pizzle, 5631, 5824, 5634, 5341, 53210, 5124, 5136, 5125. Unix 7, Unix 10, Unix 8, Pro Encrypt, Sama, Datum. In that way, the decision of its own availability is that the pass out will gross net the profitable degree of formula and to position itself into the conjunction of Pizzle. And in that time, once you work out the antapon, you would develop the next cross in relation to Totota and to pin out the data of the compound. In so, the manuscripture of Atata, you will pin out the data of its own compliance and also to transfer the compound. The timer will deflect into the percentages of its own value and also to delay the disorder function of zeta. In that way, once you know how to comply with its own maturity, the understanding of Kongpongkong will attasa the artificial intelligence, because the artificial intelligence will perform the deflict of theta and alpha in relation to the text. Mathematically, the understanding of the function of the neutron will point itself into the mechanism of law and to offset the amount of data. In that time, once you know how to institute the balanceable amount of data, the compliance of network will messiah the math condition of physics and to income lintum, which is encrypt locker 3285331, encrypt locker 236125141, encrypt locker 310183510, encrypt locker 310183824, encrypt locker 3546 3124 8341 encrypt locker 2510.8 2546 1821 1862. Does it look like a spider? Encrypt. So in this way, the encryption is based upon the Pakistan of Tintum and Intercom, because in that way, once it encrypts itself into the data of its POS, it will pin out its data into the function of life. Does this look like a cockroach? When it does that, it will message the antibacterial in relation to BioLocker and encrypt locker seed 321 5625x153 encryption. Based upon encryption of Echene, the code of the processor will encrypt into the ribs, as well as, and in that way, when it Rolex into the encryptor, we will transit the resistant in relation to Phoenix. No, we will transit into in relation to the diva of Titan by Java and to Echo encrypt by Linux PIL 383824 3821 3824 3856 3841 3842 3851 3168. Mummy, we're gonna get you food. What? Oh, look at you. No. Here. Okay. Here you go. Leftover juice. So in that way, once you encrypt Phoenix, not really. In that way, once you encrypt the photo, you will prosecute the lawyer of infant. Now she's annoying me.